Right, welcome to today's webcast. I'm really glad that you've joined us. Just to let you know, we're going to give a few minutes right now just to let people log in, get all the links sorted out and get into where they should be. Then we'll start. As we're doing that, do me a favor, jump into the chat. Let me know where you're watching from today. It'll be great just to see all the different people. I can tell you, most weeks we have 5 different continents represented here on the webcasts that we do here at Maverick. So it'll be great to see who's with us today, where you're watching from. So go to the chat, drop that in just as we're getting ready and allowing people time just to log in, get settled. So if you're thinking, oh, I've just tuned in and I want to go and get that quick drink, that cup of tea, that coffee, whatever, now's your chance to do it. You've got about a minute or so, maybe a couple of minutes, just to while we allow people to log in, and then everybody's comfortable, and then we'll start. So just to let you know, for anybody who's watching, just to fill in a little bit of time, why do we do these webcasts? Well, we've been running a series of free webcasts now for probably coming up over 3 years. And we get a lot of comments of, why do you give away so much free stuff? Well, number one is because it's part of our vision here at Maverick. We want to help 1 million businesses to grow their revenue, their profit, and their margin. And the way that we're going to do that is through the training, through education, helping people implement things. And that's what we do as a company. And so we've been putting on these free webinars at least once a week. At one point, we were doing 3 a week. And it's so that people can access information, help people's thinking grow, open their eyes to new possibilities, and might even have the opportunity to do that today when we talk about the LinkedIn profile. But all of that helps people go on in business. And so that's our primary goal, is to help. Now, of course, we're not just going to give everything away for free, because we are a business, and of course, we've all got the bills to pay. And so part of what we do is we work with individuals and right up to the corporate enterprises to help put in place things like social selling strategies, help sales teams leverage platforms like LinkedIn, all of that helps a business to advance and to grow and to hit the targets that they want to set. So if you want to find out more about Maverick, then come and drop it by our website, www.maverick. Be careful how you spell Maverick, because it's a little bit unusual. So www.maverick.io. Come and check out all of that is available. There's a lot of resource on there that is free as well, certain video content, and there's the blog pages. Check out the blogs and the articles, because there's a lot of great stuff in there, written not only by myself, but our team and a lot of other talented writers here at our company. Just a little bit about Maverick as we're just getting settled in. Is we've been around since 2014, operating in the social selling arena, and we've become the #1 here in the UK. We've got a full team behind us. We're over 45 staff now, and we've got everything from video editors, content creators, writers, graphics people. It's all here. And so we've got a really great team here. So if you're looking to partner with a training organization that help you get your sales teams to where they want to be and start hitting targets using social selling, get in touch with us. We'd love to have that conversation. Okay, that's boom, that bit out of the way. Right, let's get on with what we're talking about tonight. You've joined me tonight because you're here to look at your LinkedIn profile. And so I'm going to take you through this webinar, a simple way to set up your LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to walk you through all the best practices. I'll give you tips and hints and strategies that you can use on your profile as we go. So let me just start. Here we go with the title screen, and let me just flick through. So why should you be using LinkedIn? Well, it's as simple as this. #1, voted the most trusted platform. In fact, that happened in 2021. I know it happened again in 2020 and again in 2021. It's a platform where people come. We're not seeing the same sort of interactions and false news and all the sort of stuff we see around other platforms. LinkedIn is a trusted platform. So that's #1 reason. The other reason is there are now over 830 million users on this platform. And last year alone, over 100 million people were added to the platform. Now, of course, a lot of that happened because of the pandemic and all of that thing that was going on, and it drove a lot of people to the platform. It's estimated that inside of 18 months, LinkedIn will top the 1 billion. which would be fantastic. So it makes it a valuable resource for you and your business. So whether you're here for recruitment reasons, whether you're here for sales or you're here for networking or just to become that leading voice in your industry sector, this is the platform to be on. This is the platform where you catch the right attention and when you've got a voice that needs to be heard, the people that need to hear you are here. So why do you need a good LinkedIn profile? Well, you're probably answering the question already and thinking that's a bit of a no-brainer. Without a good LinkedIn profile, how do I make a good first impression? And that's exactly what you should be thinking. Even in digital terms, first impressions count. So if people come into your profile for the first time and they see it's all in disarray and things haven't been completed, what impression do you give people? So an important fact that you really need to understand is that on LinkedIn, when you interact, all of those things that you do, when you're liking, commenting, sending connection requests, people see your content, whatever it may be, before an individual chooses to check you out, they will come and look at your profile. A recent poll said that 62% of people will come and look at your profile before they choose to engage with you. So if that volume of people are coming and checking you out, you want to make sure your LinkedIn profile is ready. It's delivering all the right information and you maximize every opportunity. These could be your prospects coming and checking you out, looking to build up a picture of who you are, what you do, and it could be a resource that they need. So why is it important to optimize your LinkedIn profile? Well, very quickly, I'm going to run through a list. Number one, a bad profile is going to limit the profile views that you get. This is the number of people visiting your profile. If you've got a profile with no header, no profile picture, other bits of information are missing on your profile, why would people actually come and visit you? They're not going to. It will also hinder your search appearances. The people who are looking for certain things, they're doing searches on LinkedIn, on Sales Navigator, looking for various things, using keywords, all of that sort of things. If you want to be found by the right people, then that information needs to be in there so that you increase your search appearances. That's actually what will happen. Set it up and you will increase your search appearances. The places that you appear in people's search lists, you will be there. If you've got a bad profile, you're going to stagnate your connection growth. It's as simple as that. You will find it hard to grow a good network if you've got an incomplete or a poor profile on LinkedIn. You'll also damage your brand. So you might have spent thousands upon thousands of pounds or dollars or euros investing in who you are as a brand, making sure it's all on point, everything has a great thing to it. And then you come to your LinkedIn profile, which is incomplete, nothing's branded up. That's the first impression people will get of your brand through you. So you want to make sure you've got a good profile and everything's in place where it should be so that you're increasing your brand awareness, not damaging it. You'll actually undermine your own credibility as well on this platform. Often I find when people send me connection requests, there's no profile picture or there's other elements missing. I'm very reluctant to engage with them. In fact, in some cases, my first thought is this a real profile or is this a fake profile? And so on that point, you can be damaging your credibility. Whereas what you want to be doing is letting people know who you are, answering those questions and building credibility through your profile. So we're going to look at doing at that today, and we're going to look at how to put the LinkedIn profile together, how to set it up in such a way that it's working for you and not against you. So how does your LinkedIn profile work for you? Well, simply put, every time you do something on LinkedIn, elements of your profile are going to follow you. You may have noticed this, that when you post content, your profile picture's there, your name is there, and then what's called the headline follows you. When you like somebody's content, when you comment on somebody's content, when you hit the follow button on somebody's profile, guess what they see? They see your picture, your name, and that headline. And it's the same when you're sending messages, connection requests, all of that. It will follow you wherever you go. So you want to make sure that these core elements of your profile are in good shape, that you're making a good impression multiple times as you show up on people's profiles and as they bump into you around the platform. So I always say this, and it's something that a lot of people don't get straight away, but think about your LinkedIn profile as if it was your personal website. If you've ever built a website, you know how much time you would invest putting into it to make sure what? To make sure that when people land on that website, it delivers the information that is critical, that is key. So that even if somebody spends just a few seconds there, there's some messaging that they will remember when they leave. So we're going to look at that today. What is that first impression? What are those memorable things that should be in your profile so that when people arrive, they remember you? One of the challenges about LinkedIn is that it's very easy to become forgettable. Remember, 830 million people currently on this platform, and it's growing. But if people bump into you once or twice, they may casually think, I think I've seen that face somewhere before. But you want to be the person that set up everything so it draws people back to your profile multiple times. Why are you doing that? Well, you will become memorable by the amount of interactions you have with this person, and which draws them back to your profile. Each time they visit your profile, they're going to look at different areas, and you're building up a story of who you are. You're building up a story about your products and services and how you could be a resource for that individual. If it's from recruitment purposes, then of course you want people coming backwards and forwards to your profile to remind themselves who you are, your experience, and could you be a good candidate for the role. If you're looking for people, then again, you want to be that person that candidates are coming to find jobs if you are a recruiter. So think of it as your own personal website. Invest the same amount of time and effort, the detail that you're looking at, spell checking, all of that goes into your profile. So what makes a good LinkedIn profile? Let's get into it. Let's have a look. Now, I'm going to walk you through a few things, slides, then we're going to go into the live demonstration. One thing I've not mentioned, if you've got any questions throughout this, please feel free, put them into the chat today. I'll do my best. We are going across multiple platforms, but I'll do my best to answer as many questions as possible. If I don't get to your question, then please just email us at hi@maverick.io and I'll be happy to answer your question. So questions in the chat and we'll deal with them as we go. So one of the big decisions you've got when you first come to LinkedIn is what type of profile do I want? If you weren't aware, there are actually two. You can have the default mode, the one that you get when you first sign up, or now you can have the creator mode. So creator mode was introduced back in March 2021. And the reason it was introduced was LinkedIn has a problem. LinkedIn is one of the few social media platforms that's known as being content starved. In other words, 830 million people, but only just over 1% of that user number is actually contributing any content in a 30-day period. I know it's staggering to think it's only just over 1%. In fact, here in the UK, we're slightly better. It's just over 4% here in the UK. But globally, just over 1%. So LinkedIn has a bit of a problem. Every time you go to your homepage and you click refresh or you come back to that page, of course, you're expecting new content to be filling that feed. Where's that content coming from? Well, LinkedIn introduced creator mode to encourage the users of LinkedIn to create more content by saying, look, turn on this creator mode. And if you go to, I'll show you where to do this in just a few minutes. They'll give you access to LinkedIn Live. So you can live broadcast on the platform. No more did you have to jump through the hoops and get permission or wait in the queue. And, you know, I remember in the early days applying to get LinkedIn Live, and I had to wait until creator mode came out before it was made available to me. And that was nearly 2 years. Now I can get instant access. I also get access to LinkedIn newsletters. LinkedIn newsletters are a fantastic way of really gathering a focused audience on the topics and issues that you talk about. It's a group of people who are really interested in what you have to say, hence why they subscribe. And now once a week, once a month, whatever the frequency is, you can now publish a long form article and you can promote and advertise within that to that audience as well. You get access to a wider audience that I found through testing this on and off with creator mode on and off, that on average, now I've got a large network, but on average for me, it's around about 1,500 to 2,000 extra views per week. If you've got a smaller network under 1,000, that'll be the difference between an extra 200 to 300 views. per week. Now, who wouldn't want extra views on their content? The whole point of posting content is that people see it and engage with it. So for that alone, it's well worth turning on creator mode. There are also more features coming. You could be suggested as a creator by the LinkedIn team, and that, of course, will bring in more people to your profile, and people will follow you and connect with you. And there's new features yet to come later on this year, which LinkedIn have been teasing us about. And so stay tuned with LinkedIn, and I'm sure you'll find it. So if you haven't, I encourage you, turn on the creator mode. It's that simple. As again, I will show you where that is and how you do that when we go into the live demo. Now, before I switch and go into the live LinkedIn, let me just point out some things on my profile, because I can't do this once I go live, because I only see it from my view, not a viewer's point of view. Some things that I want to point out. The first thing is this area here, known as the header image. You want to make sure that you have a bespoke image in there. Something that communicates what you do, how you can help people, maybe have a statement like I have on this one as an example, but it's got to have at least the company brand, the company name is in there. So for me, this one I put up, this was expert in demand. This is one of the features or one of the products that we do here at Maverick. And so it's about elevating your authority, attract clients that will pay more for your expertise. And so for a few weeks, this was my header, and it's made a statement, and that's what I wanted people to remember, even if they only stayed for a few seconds. So when we go to live, I'll show you I have a different one at the moment and different ways you can use it, but make sure you've got something branded. The simplest one you could have is whatever your company branding color is, get that up there as a block color and get the company name in there. That at least when people come to your profile, they see in bold that nice company name there, and it becomes something that they see more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. It becomes memorable, and that will help with your brand awareness. You can then elaborate and build out that by using imagery or something that reflects your brand, and then put in statements of who you are and what you're doing in there. Don't make it overcomplicated, because it needs to be very simple to engage with and see and read. But also remember, if you're going to put any text here, this goes for content and anywhere else on LinkedIn, remember that 50% of your audience, the people who are engaging with you and viewing you, are going to do that on a mobile phone. So make sure any text is nice, big and bold, so it can be read on a mobile device as well as on a desktop. So if you haven't got a LinkedIn header image in, I plead with you to get one, because the absence of one gives the wrong message. I do it, and I know lots of other people do it. If I go to somebody's profile and there's nothing there but the standard bluey gray background that LinkedIn gives you, I'm immediately put off. I'm immediately thinking of leaving that profile. And to be honest, I'm looking for something that really grabs my attention after that, that would make me stay. Otherwise, I'm gone. So that's your header image. Think about what you're putting in there. Next is your profile picture. Now, just some tips about your profile picture. Make sure that your face fits 50% of the frame area. You want people to connect with you as a human being. So make sure your face is very visible. Make sure it's well lit. It doesn't have to be a professionally done picture. You can take a standard, where's mine? Standard smartphone. Most of them these days have really high pixel cameras on them. You can get a good standard. My only advice is get somebody else to take the picture of you, or else you end up with this awkward shoulder length selfie thing. It looks a little bit unnatural as a profile picture. Just get somebody else to take that. This one was simply taken in my office at home, in front of the window, and someone took the picture of me. So I used natural lighting and everything. And I'll be fair, that natural lighting does me favors, because it makes me look slightly younger. Not much, but slightly. But get that picture up there. Again, if there is no picture there, that is not going to work for you. It's going to work against you. The absence of a picture immediately, and I know I do this, I'm thinking, is this a fake profile? Was this profile made 5 minutes ago, and why are they using this? Why wouldn't you, on a social platform, make your face visible? So do that. There are cases as well, I know, in the settings, there are options to actually make your profile not visible unless you're a first degree connection. Again, I'm not quite sure why you would do that. I've never found a case to do that. It's a social platform. You want people to connect with you. You want people to connect with you on a human level. And this is the first part of your profile that will help that. So make your face available. Now, some don'ts about your profile picture. I normally talk about this first, but I've reversed it around today. Is don't go cropping your face out from a group picture, because you'll end up with somebody else's shoulder or the part of a woman's dress beside you, or something like that. Or you'll have this chaotic background in there. I've seen people who've cropped and thought, oh, I look really good in that wedding picture. And so they crop their head and shoulders out, but you can see the bride's veil in there and things like that. I've seen ladies who've been out on obviously group ladies' nights out, and they're there, but you can just see the slight head of somebody. Oh, just you, plain and simple, taken up front. Avoid the holiday pictures as well. I think one of the worst ones I ever saw was someone was really proud of their profile picture. Why? It's because it was them stood in front of Niagara Falls. Well, the truth was I could see a lovely picture of the Niagara Falls and all the water, but they were like this little pinhead in the picture that even when I clicked on the profile picture and blew it up, I still couldn't make out that person's facial features. That doesn't help you. Keep it simple, nice and bright picture. You can play around with it if you're talented enough. Take out the background, put a block color in. You may have seen that. Some people will do that. Yes, it does help you stand out on LinkedIn, but just make sure if you're doing that, then of course it goes along with your brand colors and things like that, so you don't get caught out with that. Now, just a couple of other things. Oh, actually, let me finish first on this. Your name. The name field is key. You want people to find you, and you want people to find you easy. So make sure you put your name in as people know you. I'm a great example of this because my full birth name is Terence Paul Heath, but nobody knows me by Terence Paul. In fact, most of the people that I work with will never, ever hear Terence ever used. In fact, even in my home, nobody calls me that. Everybody knows me as Terry. So that's how I put myself on LinkedIn. If I was to come to LinkedIn and think, oh, I'll put in my name as I'm officially known, the problem with that is everywhere I go, I introduce myself. Hi, my name's Terry Heath. So what will they do when they come to LinkedIn to find me? They'll type in Terry Heath, and they're going to find it hard to find me because that's not how my name is recorded. So simply put, if you're an Elizabeth and everyone knows you as Liz, it's Liz and whatever your surname. If you're a Christopher and everyone knows you as Chris, it's Chris, whatever your surname is. Keep it simple. Let people find you easy. Also, avoid putting, and I know there's some people on this webinar because I've had a look at the attendees, lots of letters after your names. Now, I know you've worked hard for those qualifications, but what you're actually doing is complicating the search field because you're putting lots of characters in and making it harder. So if you have a very common name, here in the UK it will be a John Smith, then there's going to be thousands of them. So putting more letters in there's just made it even harder for someone to find me. I want to make it as simple as possible. All of your qualifications and everything is available lower in your profile anyway, in your experience and your work history. And also avoid putting emojis in this field. People put emojis in. I've seen unicorns, rockets, stars, all sorts of things. And the reason I see people put them in there a lot of the time is they want to be seen on LinkedIn. I want to stand out. Well, it might help you stand out. I'm not sure it'll help you. If you're a comedian or a children's entertainer, there might be a case for it. But again, what you've just done is put in non-searchable characters into your name field and complicated the process of people just typing in your name and finding you. So keep this simple as people know you. Then underneath that, we have this area here, which is known as the headline. Now, most people on LinkedIn will just simply put job title and the company in there. So job title, company, and nothing else. That's fine, but it's a wasted opportunity because you can put more characters in here and very quickly you can tell people in just one short sentence or 2 or 3 just bullet point types of statements who you are and what you do. Now, the reason you'd want to do that is, earlier I said that parts of your profile will follow you around LinkedIn when you're liking, commenting, sending connection requests, sending direct messages. What actually follows you around is profile picture, your name, and this headline. So if that is going to follow you around LinkedIn and every interaction you have with individuals, let's make sure we're using this headline wisely. We want a statement in there that says something about us and how we can help. It tells people what we do. It's free marketing space. Every time you like, every time you comment, every time you hit the follow button, all of that activity, every time you send the connection request, they will see this over and over and over again. But just by going by pure advertising standard, just repeat, 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 eventually it locks into people's thinking. Especially if they're starting to remember your face and your name, this becomes memorable as well. And so you're building up a picture of who you are and what you do very, very quickly. So think about what you're putting in these areas and make sure. Now, just underneath that, you've got talks about the sales and marketing and hashtags. You'll see that on mine. You may have seen it on other people's profiles. But you're thinking, I don't see that on mine. Where does that come from? That is part of the creator mode, which I'll show you in a minute. And you put in 5 hashtags of the topics that you talk about. So anybody visiting your profile knows immediately what are the topics that you focus on. So it helps them in the decision process. Is this the sort of person I'd want to follow or even connect with? So we want to do that. Now, before I jump into the live, 2 other things that I want to point out. The first one is this bell symbol here on the right-hand side of the header. That bell symbol is once you become a first-degree connection with somebody, you can click that bell symbol and it will tell you when, LinkedIn will give you a notification of whenever that person posts any content. So if you're in the sales and business development side of life, you may want to know when somebody posts content so you can interact with them to create some awareness, to get conversations going. So click that and then you will be notified in the notification section on your profile whenever they posted content. And then lastly, before we go into the live, is this green dot here. You may have seen that. If you're not aware, you'll see 2 types. There's the full green dot or there's the green circle. The full green dot tells me that this individual is active now on LinkedIn on a desktop. If it's the green ring, then they're active on a mobile device. That information can be very, very valuable, particularly if I'm trying to connect with a particular person. If I see that they're live right now on a desktop or on a mobile device, I could attempt sending the message right now, knowing that when that message arrives, it'll pop up as a notification, and I could engage them there and then in that moment and not have to wait for replies. So you can use that to your advantage. Now, let me jump into live LinkedIn, and I just want to walk you through some things. So, as I said earlier, my LinkedIn header is a little bit different right now. Company name's up here. This is one of our programs. And again, a statement in the middle there, grow revenue and double your profits in the next 12 months. That's what we help people do through the Accelerator program. And so again, I'm changing it. Now, a note on that, this is my preference, but I normally change my header image every 3 months. Around about every 2 to 3 months, I will change my header image. And I tailor my header image to the audience that I'm attempting to communicate with at that time. So this one particularly is aimed at the small businesses, startups, solo entrepreneurs. That's what this is. So that's who I'm targeting. That's who I'm looking to engage in conversation right now. And so that's what's on my profile currently. Tailor your header image to the audience that you're looking to connect with. When they arrive on your profile, there's something that resonates with them. There's something that they connect with in the messaging and what they see. Okay, so I said I would take you down. If we just move down the profile a little bit, let me just highlight it towards the top of the screen. You've got this area here. Now you can go in and edit this. You can put a URL and point people to something. So in this case, going slightly back down, of course, I'm talking about the Accelerator program. So I've actually got a link to that program there. Click it, it'll take you straight to the web page on our website, which is the Accelerator page. And you can put anything in there. Anything that's got a URL, you can point them to specific landing pages, generally your website, promotional videos. I've seen this used by art students, did some work with a few months ago, where they've got links to galleries of their work, all of that sort of thing. Use this opportunity. How do you get to that? Simply go into your profile here at the top and just scroll down to the bottom, and the website area is there. Put in the URL, put a link text, so what you actually want displayed, the URL sits behind that, upload that in there, and then simply save it. And that's done. So use that opportunity to market and push, promote. If you're looking to be recruited, this could be a link through to a video CV or examples of your work, anything like that. There's another area in your profile where you can do that as well, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. Something else to point out is the contact info. Now, I'll click on mine just as an example. You want to check this out. Why? Is because when you signed up for your LinkedIn profile, you probably signed up with your own personal email address, your Yahoo, your Gmail, whatever it was. And so you may not be aware that publicly your personal email is sitting in this box here, available for everybody to come and have a look at. And unfortunately, people will rip that information out of LinkedIn, and suddenly you're wondering, why am I getting spammed with all this useless information and discounts for this and promotions for that? Well, it could be because it's publicly available on LinkedIn and somebody scraped that information out. So you may want to think about updating that and putting in at least your business email address. It also helps that if people are wanting to contact you directly about something, in your contact information is your work email address. I've also got, obviously, the profile comes as standard, the website's in there, contact number, where we're located. I've also got down the bottom there, which is my Google chat and Skype as well. Anybody still use Skype? I don't know if it's even still around now. And by the way, it's my birthday tomorrow. So if you want to say happy birthday, come and say hello on my profile. I'll be more than welcome. So have a look at your contact information. What is in there? What are you displaying? If you want to update it, just link in there and you can update your details in that section there. So we've got all the top half of our profile sorted out right now. Everything's in order and where it should be. And so we want to look down a little bit further. Now, I did say I'll show you where you can turn on your creator mode. It's here in the resources section of your profile. You click on creator mode. Mine's currently on already, but you click on it, and if I click in there, it will show you very, very quickly what you need to do. It'll ask me to add the 5 hashtags. So for me, sales, marketing, social selling, digital marketing, business development, they're the main topics that I talk about. Again, I could tailor these to the audience that I'm talking to. So if I was switching, let's say I was targeting people in IT and software, I may use slightly different wording or hashtags in there just to attract that audience. But very simply, you put 5 hashtags in there. You'll find there's a couple of other tick boxes and things to do. It takes less than 2 minutes to set this up. You click done at the bottom, and then you will be live on the creator mode. The creator mode effectively will slightly change the way that your profile is presented, in that your activity section, which is all your content that you're putting out, and your featured section will sit above each other, as well as the hashtags being displayed at the top. So I'm going to come back to, if you're thinking, oh, he's just skipped down the page. Oh, forgive me, I've moved past the analytics. I'm going to come back to the analytics in a few minutes. But I just want to mention this area, the featured section. A lot of people that I do work with don't even know this exists and haven't got it turned on their profile. I would recommend, doesn't matter whether you're here for networking purposes, for sales, for recruitment, to be a leading voice, this is a valuable area of your profile to turn on. To turn it on, simply scroll to the top of your profile, go to add section profile, go to recommended, and mine's grayed out because it's already turned on. Just click on the add featured and it will appear. It will appear to you first, but it won't appear to anybody viewing your profile until you put some content in there. So what do you want to put in there? In a minute, I'll show you how to put it in. But let me first say, depending on what your focus is on LinkedIn, if it's for recruitment, then of course you want your CV sitting there. You may want examples, case studies or work projects you've done, certificates, qualifications, anything like that could sit in this. It acts like the shop window, really. And it enables people to access information, much greater information in one place, rather than having to leave your profile, go to websites or track down something else. You can put it all here. It becomes your very own shop window. From a sales perspective, you could have in here, I've got examples of programs and courses that we do. I've got my newsletters in there as well. I think further on, I've got other elements. What else have I got in there? I've got an example of a post that I did a few months ago that was really successful. I've got a free download of the top 100 hashtags on LinkedIn, and then I've got others in there. So I think I've got round about somewhere 8 or 10 listed in there, and they all sit there. People can access it, look through, and get a very good idea of who we are, what we do very, very quickly from that example. So think about what you want to put in there. I've seen companies use this. Suddenly got myself. Oh dear, what's going on here? I'm losing my track now. Oh, we ended up my sales navigator. Why is it going back? Come on. Give me a second to get out and go back to LinkedIn. There we go. Get back in there where I should be. So you can use this featured section in various ways, as I've always mentioned. Some examples that I've seen. One company that I work with does multiple different types of tubes, anything from a medical tube right up to tubes that you'd have in a nuclear power station. And so they will have things like their spec sheets for the different types of tubes, so that if that's what you're looking for, you can see a snapshot of this company and the specifications, the tolerances, all that stuff I honestly don't understand, but that's what they have there. I know some other management training companies that have a number of case studies where they've helped tackle issues and problems within a company, how they approached it, what was the solutions they brought, and what were the outcomes. And it just lets people know who you are, what you do. It gives them a taste of where you work, the sort of clients you're working with along here. I mentioned art students earlier. A number of the art students I was working with, they're using this as their gallery, so the different examples of their work that they've done to a prospective employer. They can see exactly the style of work that they favor and whether they would be suitable. So think about how you're using it. To add any content is very simple. You go to the plus button and you can see you've got add a post, add a newsletter, add an article, add a link, add media. Add a post. So you put a post up on LinkedIn and it creates a great conversation, a lot of conversation, gets really people talking, but it evidences something about who you are. So you might want to include that. I've got one example of that further along in mine, because I know that people will access that time and time again. It's a very popular topic about helping people with their content creation. So I put that in there as a resource so people get a taste of the sort of work that we do and how we can help. When it comes to a newsletter, I've got the example here. My newsletter is there so that I want people to click on it, have a look at it, and subscribe. I want to build that audience around that. So my newsletter is there. I can add an article. Now, an article is just something that is separate from the newsletter. It's a long form piece, gives you more opportunity than you would in normal posting to write at length about your expertise, what you do as a company, maybe testimonials, feedback, anything like that could be put into an article, and you could have that there. You can add a link. Effectively, it's got a URL, you could put it in there. So I could have a link. I do have one in there. Links to our website. These two are actually links that take you straight into content creation made simple. And I do believe the one behind that, is the social selling one with Sales Navigator. It'll take you straight into the landing pages on our website. So you can use these in various different ways. And then the last one is the add media. PDFs, Excel documents, Word documents, anything like that you could put up there. Again, these could be the examples and images, PDFs, PNG, JPEGs, all of that sort of content could be going up there, different formats. So there's lots of options and choice to put in there. You can even, and I do this in my profile from time to time, clicking the pencil option, I can then click the two arrows at the top, and I can reorder this content. So if I change my focus, I'm being clumsy with my mouse today. Keep going back and forwards. Here we go, get myself back into the right area. And I can reorder. I just simply pick it up, slide it down, and it'll reorder it for me. That's all done. Go back to my featured section, and there you go, it's updated and change the order. And so you can change the order around, prioritize the first three. They are the ones that people see first. They are the key ones that you want people to interact with. Then after that, you can put extra. There is no limit on how many you can put afterwards in that section. Although I'd be honest, probably once you're up to about 10, that's probably enough, because I don't know many people that will just keep scrolling and engaging with each one past that point. So use this featured section. I can't stress it enough. This will open up doors for you. You could have links into setting up calls, links to all sorts of different things in there. Use your imagination. How can I use this to engage? If you're using something called smart links on LinkedIn, use your smart link here and you can track the people that engage with that piece of content. If you want to know more about smart links, email us at hi@maverick.io and we'll be happy to get in touch. Okay, let me just speed down a little bit. Past the activity, I want to just mention the About section. Okay, so the About section. Simple rule about the About section, make sure it's easy for people to read and engage with. What you don't want is big, heavy paragraphs of text in here. Why? It's social media. We're all educated on social media, have short attention span, and invariably what happens when there's heavy paragraphs of 5, 6, 7 lines of text in a paragraph, people just switch off. They don't read it, they don't engage with it. So line space, make it very easy for people to engage with. Mine's set out, so I talk about the company first, and then go down to the About Me section. Absolutely your preference, whichever way you want to do that. But I would say talk about the company and yourself, so that people get a picture of who you are, who the company is, and it makes the whole relationship for them wanting to approach you to do business a lot easier. If it's from a recruitment perspective, then of course, heavy about you, your achievements, go into detail about it. You can upload different documents to support that at the bottom. You could put links to different websites if it was applicable in there as well. But make sure that information is there and it's easy to people to engage with. Try to avoid all the emojis and things like that. It just gets a little bit heavy. And unless, as I mentioned earlier, something like a children's entertainer or comedian, it probably starts to look a little bit unprofessional as well. A little note going down further about your experience section. I normally recommend put in the last 3 roles or the last 3 companies, depending on how many roles you've had within that company, in this section. Don't be scared of what you're putting in there. I've worked with the people in their early 20s in sales who were saying, look, this is my first real job out of university. Prior to this, I was at McDonald's. Should I really put McDonald's in there? And my answer is always yes, because it says something about you. It says that you can handle yourself in fast turnover, high volume environments. It does actually say something about you, but it also says that you worked through university. You weren't just sitting on your bum doing your assignments. You've done it the hard way. And so get that information in there. Go and have a look at mine. Mine is a real mix of different sectors and that I've been in industries in there. But it all says something about you, and your profile will build a story of who you are as an individual that helps you with the sales, with the networking, with the recruitment, with becoming a leading voice. It speaks of who you are and what you do. So let me come back up, and then I'll deal with some questions after this in just a second. I want to come back up to the analytics, because this is one of the sections that people ignore a lot in LinkedIn, and it's a mistake to do so. The reason why is because the information that LinkedIn is giving you, and in fact, in the recent months, LinkedIn has increased the amount of information and how you can interpret that information, which makes it even more valuable. But all of this information will tell you how your profile is actually working for you. Excuse me while I just take a drink. Okay, so let's just go into the profile views. The profile views are the number of people who are coming to your profile and taking a look at who you are. Now, what will promote people to get there? Well, simply your content that you put out on LinkedIn will catch people's attention, and they'll have a look at who is the author of this content. The topics that you talk about, the information that you give out, they come and have a look at you. They want to know a bit more about you. Of course, connection requests. You send out connection requests. Remember that statistic from earlier? 62% of people will come and check you out before they choose to engage with you. That's not just in connection requests, but that's in messaging, in liking and commenting. When they see you, they'll go through a process of deciding, do I want to engage with this person? That engagement may be them just following you at first, maybe sending you a connection request, sending you a direct message, whatever it may be. But people are going to go through that process. So all of that is going to drive people to our profile. And so here on mine, I've got dips up and down. This is over a 90-day period. And so for me, where I get sharp spikes, there's not so many. There's one right at the beginning. It's quite high. Most of these spikes for me are driven by a particular piece of content. So I might have put something out that was highly engaging. A lot of people got involved with that, with likes, comments, views. And so that causes a lot of spikes, because from that group of people, there'll always be a percentage that will come and check out my profile to find out who I am, people who are new and they bumped into me. Now below that, well, actually, before I go below, at the top here, I can play around with who's been coming to my profile. So it's going to show me some of the top ones. So Maverick, our own company, yes, I've got people coming backwards and forwards from our own company. I would expect that. I've got people from Fiverr. Now, I get a lot of people from Fiverr coming and checking out my profile. They're always trying to sell me a new website or something like that. So they're always in there. Upwork is very similar. But then I've got companies like TradeShip, Transputech. These are clients, and they've been coming backwards and forwards to my profile for various reasons. But I could put in other people. So let me put in Smurfit Kappa, and let's have a little look. Smurfit Kappa is one of our clients. How many? So I've had 2 individuals from Smurfit Kappa come and check out. This becomes really handy is if you are from a business development prospecting a particular company, you want to know, am I attracting the attention of people in that company? Is it possible for me to find the decision makers? So what you can do is put the name of the company in the search and have a look over the last 90 days. Have they engaged with any of your content? Have you attracted their attention through your messaging, connection requests? And you can have a look at that. So use the information that is available to you. Let me just reset that one and show results. Again, you can do the same with industry. Which industries are you attracting? You can do the same with location and various locations. Interesting views, on or off. Interesting views are people that you might have in lists on Sales Navigator, people who have similar experiences, job title to you, things like that. You may or may not find that. You can click on the all filters and just play around with the information. Let it inform you who is coming and visiting your profile. Now, if you have a subscription with LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, Premium, something like that, then you will have access to the last 90 days of individuals that have come to your profile. And even if you don't, you should be able to see, I think it's the last or the most recent 5 or 6 individuals that's come to your profile. Either way, the information is still valuable. I want to be looking at these individuals. I'm looking at name, I'm looking at job titles, the companies that they're in. And for me, I would be looking down. Now, I attract quite a range of people because of all the training courses, webinars, and things that we do. But generally, what I'm looking for is particularly people in business development, senior management roles, founders, people like that. People in the sales and marketing world predominantly, though they are the sort of people. So I'm looking down and seeing marketing people, business development, sales professionals, sales and marketing specialists. That's my audience. So I'm quite comfortable with the people who are coming to my profile are the right people. They're the people I want to engage with. They're the people I want to talk to have a dialogue with. So the right people are there. If I come to this profile, to this area of my profile, and I see that, just for an extreme example, it's filled up with car mechanics and window cleaners, then my content and my profile are not working for me. There's something wrong. I need to change the information that's in there. I need to specifically think about what are the key words actually something I haven't mentioned is just the SEO factors of your profile. Think about what you're writing in your about section and in your headline, those two areas particularly. What are the key words that you're using in your profile that will help you to be found? Let me just go back up into my profile. And if I go down to my about section, I can give you an example of what I mean by this. I go into the see more. Right here, I have the phrase small business pioneers. Slightly unusual phraseology to use, but it's because that string of words were coming up quite a lot in a particular week on the Google Analytics and the Google word searching. And so I decided to put that into my profile so that when people are searching for that, they will find me. And the result of that was that a new part or a new section, new audience were coming to my profile and checking me out who'd never been before. And they were all there. Something in their search included those words, and it helped people to find me. So what are those buzzwords? What are those keywords? What are the phrases, the things that relate to the people you're trying to connect with? Get those in your profile. Help those people to find you easily by using those SEO factors, those keywords in your profile. Here in the About section and also above in your headline statement at the top as well. You want those keywords to be evident. Make sure people are finding you. So just skipping back, and I've done it again. Why have I? Heavy finger today. Maybe lighter touch. Go back again. Where did that come from? Go away. LinkedIn. There we go. So just coming back up into the analytics, profile views, use them. Let them indicate who is coming to your profile. On the other side, you've got search appearances. It's quite similar, but this time, this is people constructing. They're using Sales Navigator, would be one of the most common. There's certain filters, keywords that they're using in their searches on Sales Navigator, and you're appearing in those lists. So who is looking? Who's having a look and finding you in their list? Well, for me, I've had this company, Vistage, who've been finding me for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now that's interesting to me because I want to know who are this company? Why do I keep appearing in there? I can see on screen that 170 people in there. There's some people who are already in my network that work there. So that's interesting to me because they're already engaging with my content. I may have had conversations with these, so I maybe need to look into these people a little bit more. Actually, I recognize one of the faces there already. But I will just have a look around and check out who is actually coming to my profile in that section, in the search appearances. But again, I want to make sure the right people are finding me. So people like Naylor Industries, Zoomer, all those different people. And if I look further down, it'll tell me the job titles of the people doing the searches. Again, are they the right people? So for me, salespeople, founders, business strategists, UX designers, and executive directors. The only one for me that probably wouldn't be too applicable is the UX experience designer. That's quite a new one. I haven't seen that in my search results before, but I'm more than happy with all of the others because, again, they are my audience. They are the type of people I want to find me for what I do. And so use this information. Let it inform you what you're doing, who's coming to your profile. And if it's not what you expect, you need to update your profile. You might need to change your header, change the description in your headline, change the about section, put different things in the featured section to make sure that you're attracting the right audience. Remember, a lot of it will be driven by your content as well, so think about that as well. Okay, just a few minutes to have a look on what we're doing here. Let me have a look at some questions here. Someone asked the question, so what drives people to your profile the quickest? Good question. The thing that will drive people to your profile the quickest will be your content. What you talk about. If you talk about, let's say, I want to talk to small business people about the challenges they have in securing sales on LinkedIn, then I'm going to put out content that addresses that issue. I'll ask them and say, look, are you suffering as a business because you don't have enough sales leads? Do you find that balance of all the other areas of business you have to do as a small businessman, running your team on all the finance side and everything, as well as generating sales? If you're finding that a challenge, come and talk to Maverick. We have some programs and systems in place that can help lift that burden off your shoulders. And so I'll talk to people, and that will drive people to my profile. Why? Because they'll go, okay, he says he has an answer. Let's find out more about him now. I want the story. I want to know, I feel like we could trust them. Let's find out about this Maverick. Is this the sort of company that we could work with? And people will be driven to your profile. So content will always drive people to your profile the quickest. How many items should I have in the featured section? Well, I mentioned earlier that obviously the first 3 are the key ones. They are the ones that you want there and the priority. After that, you could probably add in another 6 or 7, probably up to 10 would be maximum. Beyond that, it depends how far people would be willing to scroll. And of course, the longer they scroll, the less likely people will do that. So I would go up to 10, probably maximum on that. But the first 3 are the key ones. Prioritize those first. What's that? You mentioned Sales Navigator. Would I recommend getting Sales Navigator? Well, again, it depends on why you're here on LinkedIn. If you're here for recruitment purposes, then you don't want Sales Navigator. You want the recruiter package. If you're a recruiter, you're looking to be recruited, you don't need any package whatsoever. If you're here for sales and development, then I would, sales and business development, yes, I would encourage you to get Sales Navigator. In fact, if you've never tried it out before, you'll get 30 days free trial with them anyway. But what I recommend is that you get some training and understanding of how to use the tool before you get the 30 days free trial. That way, once you have an understanding of what you're doing, you can literally rinse it for 30 days, and then you'll see the benefits, and you can make the judgment of whether financially I want to commit to this month in and month out. For us here at Maverick, it's a no-brainer. For what we pay each month for Sales Navigator, we have an enterprise Sales Navigator license. We simply, it just multiplies in the sales leads that we get by using this tool. We've actually got a great webinar called Business Development with Sales Navigator, which I think is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So I encourage you, if you're looking at that, go to the Maverick LinkedIn company page, go into the event section, find that event and attend that event. Go and get an understanding of how to get the most out of Sales Navigator. Then go and register for your free month. Give it a good run and you'll see the difference it can make. If you want any more information, again, email us hi@maverick.io. One of our team would be more than happy to have a conversation with you about Sales Navigator, how to get the best of it. And even there are 3 different packages within Sales Navigator, which one would be best for you. What else have we got? Let's have a little look. How important is your SSI score? Okay, so if you're not aware of what the SSI is, I actually prepared a screen for this. The SSI is your social selling index. And so LinkedIn takes various bits of information about what you're doing and ranks you with your network and globally as well, and industry sectors, and then gives you a score. So currently, I'm doing quite well at the moment. I'm in the top 1% of my network, top 1% in my industry, and in my team, as in our Maverick, I'm number 2. I'm still trying to knock our CEO off the top. He's been there for a long time, but I'm number 2 there on the top. So it's a good indication. There's various elements that go into this about establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. So LinkedIn is measuring all of this all the time, and it gives you a score out of 100. If you're 70 and above, you're doing well. You're doing well. But what I would say about the SSI is don't make this the only thing that you measure your success on LinkedIn. Why? Well, when I first started, of course, these numbers were a lot lower. For me, that was over 4 years ago. They were a lot lower. It helped me to understand how I was progressing, and as the numbers were increasing, I'm doing the right things. But there's a point at which you start to plateau, that this becomes irrelevant. Why? Is because the moment that I change my audience that I'm targeting or prospecting or wanting to talk to, then of course, who I'm engaging with the right people, that number starts falling because it's got used to me, say, targeting people in the software industry, and suddenly I'm now talking to accountants in the finance industry. And so things will change and this score will change and move around with it. It will give you various graphs and things on the bottom. It's a good indication that early on, as you're starting to use LinkedIn, are you getting the most out of it? Are you seeing your scores go up? And you can use it like that. But once you're established on LinkedIn, you've got a good, healthy network, and you know what you're doing, you will probably find that a lot of this information is quite irrelevant. In fact, I visit the SSI score probably every time I do this webinar and know the time, simply just as illustration, and that's all. Okay, last couple of minutes, very quickly. What's that one? How often should I post content on LinkedIn? Well, okay, I'll talk a little bit about content. This is not a content webinar, but if you want to attract people to your profile, let's put it in that context. I would encourage you to post content daily on LinkedIn. You will create some momentum. The algorithm actually gets used to your posting pattern, and you'll actually see the audience grow over time if you post daily. We always have the mantra, better to post something than nothing. So some days, if I'm really, really pushed, let's say, I've just got lots of client things to deal with on a particular day and I'm really pushed for time, then I might just post out something that is simply an inspirational quote, something that is relevant, or I use resources from the My Company page on the Maverick page as well. But post content. If you would find that a challenge, then I would encourage you, post at least 3 times a week. Let people see you. If you're on the platform and you're looking for influence, you're looking to be recruited, you're looking to engage people for business development, whatever it is, if you're not speaking, people are not seeing you putting content out there, how do you expect anybody to find you? You're relying purely on now people doing Sales Navigator searches and bumping into you by accident. But be more intentional. Your content will speak for you. Your content will remain on the platform. More people will see it than you ever expected. So use content to get engagement. One last question then. We've dealt with that one, spoken on that one. Oh, okay. Last one before we finish. Someone's asked, I have 2 businesses, so should I have 2 separate profiles? Oh, yes and a no is the simple answer to that one. It depends on the types of businesses and the circumstances. I'm trying to think of some examples off the top of my head on this one. So I can remember one example of a gentleman. He's quite high up in a company, and so of course his profile's all branded, but he has this side hustle that him and his family do. It's sort of like a little family business, and they do country fairs and things like that. And so he wants to promote that as well on LinkedIn. He has everything in one profile, but in his featured section, he'll mention these other things, or occasionally, maybe once a week, he'll post about this side hustle bit that the family does, this small family business as well. You can do it that way. If you are wanting to be totally dedicated, let's say you want to be a leading voice on the platform, and you have 2 businesses, and they're totally different industries, then that's the point where you may consider having 2 different profiles. You want to keep those audiences apart. You don't want to confuse the messaging at all in that instance. So there may be a case for that. But in most cases, I've said, look, just be upfront, let people know, let them see it in your experience section that you are participating in 2 different businesses, and then it makes it easier to post. Your content, you may choose to post about one week, one the next week, and just alternate through that, or have set days that you talk about each of the different businesses. It is really down to the circumstances and what those businesses are, how you make that decision. And again, if you want a bigger conversation about that, get in touch with us at hi@maverick.io, and we're more than happy to help. Well, that's it. That's about wrapped up tonight. I hope what I shared tonight has really helped you. I hope that you can take things away from that. If you haven't done anything with your profile in a long time, maybe time to go and refresh it, do that headline again, turn on that featured section if you haven't, get it all updated, and let's get people coming to our profile. Let's get the right audience coming to our profile, so more people are engaging with us and we have greater success on LinkedIn. Hey, if I can help you at all, with your profile, then please come and get in touch with me. Come and find me on LinkedIn, Terry Heath. Very simply, put my name in there. That's the man on screen. Come and send me a connection request. More than happy to connect. Come and email us at hi@maverick.io. And if you've got any questions, and we're more than happy to help you. There will be a follow-up email after this webcast, which will come out tomorrow. And we'll just send you the replay link if anybody wants to go back through this or share it with anybody else. And there'll be a couple of other resources in there. So thank you very much for your time tonight. And I hope you've taken a lot away from this. And until next time, see you later. Thank you.
Last year, Maverick has helped generate more than 15 million in new business. The biggest reason for this is our 90-day training and implementation platform we call the Accelerator Program, where we teach your team to sell on social media with an implement-as-you-go strategy. It's not a pre-recorded course, it's hands-on sales training that develops and grows with you, with 90 days of real action that generates business and long-term revenue. So who is it for? This program is for entrepreneurs, marketing and sales professionals who want to sell without ads, cold calling, or pushy tactics. A better way of selling with real steps to take, which speeds up your sales process without burning any bridges. These are just a few examples of results our members have achieved using the Accelerator. As you can see, the Accelerator isn't about quick wins, it's about building a better sales process. If you'd like to learn more, just book a call with the Maverick team and we'll show you